Today, having words like natural, organic, or non-toxic on a product are unfortunately not reliable indicators of how healthy that product is. For example, the term natural has become a buzzword. Just because something is labeled natural does not mean that it's good for you. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration has actually never legally defined what this term natural means, and there's no regulations on its use. So companies are just using the term as a marketing tactic, and this has no reflection on how safe that product is at all. Therefore, it's really important that you start to check the products that you use yourself by evaluating the ingredients list. So in this lesson, that's exactly what we're going to show you how to do. And in this way, you can really take control of the products that you're bringing in and feel empowered about using ones that are good for you and your family. Now, reading product ingredients lists might seem overwhelming, especially if you're not familiar with the terminology that's used on the back. But the good news is that there's actually some quite simple and really great tools out there that can help us in this process. So the first step is to check to see if a product's already been reviewed by one of these existing databases. And two of the best tools for this are the Environmental Working Group, EWG, and the Think Dirty app. So let's start with the Environmental Working Group. It's a non-profit organization that helps consumers choose better products for their health. And they've done a really great job at making a helpful website and an app, which are linked down below. So what they do is they evaluate and score thousands of products by going through their individual ingredients lists. And their main focus is on the products we use every day, like skincare, makeup, hair care, and oral care. So I'm going to show you exactly how to use the EWG website and how we can go about choosing healthy products. Okay, so here we have the Environmental Working Group's website, so ewg.org. Now, when you land on the main homepage here, you're going to be able to do a couple different things. So first thing we're going to look at is how to search up a specific product to see what sort of health score it gets. So we can click up top here. There's the Skin Deep database. This has all the personal care products. There's also a tap water database where they've done a whole bunch of testing on water quality. We're not going to look at that in this module. And there's EWG verified products, which we'll get to in a moment. So I'm just going to click on the search bar here, and I'm going to plug in the most commonly used shampoo in the States, which is Head & Shoulders. So let's type in Head & Shoulders. It gives us one product found on the Skin Deep database. So we're going to click on that, and we actually see 49 products for Head & Shoulders here. So I'm going to click on one. Let's try anti-dandruff shampoo. I'm clicking on that, and it's going to give me a whole lot of information here that I'm going to go over. So the first thing you're going to notice is a big 6. Now, this is the score, the health score of this product based off of all the different ingredients that are in that product. And we're looking for a low number here. We recommend products only in the 1 or 2 score range. Anything above that and all the way up to 10, the higher the score, the more toxic it is. So you're also going to see a score based on what amount of data they used to generate this score. So every product is going to have 2 scores essentially, their health score and also what amount of data they used to generate that health score. So we can look down here and see the data available is limited. So that means that there's not a ton of data that they've used to generate that score. And here we go. So a limited amount of data, there's not none, but there's not a fair amount. So there's some scientific studies that they've used to determine this amount, but I'm still waiting for more. So then we can look at what are some of the specific concerns that are raised over this product. So we can see here, out of the ingredients that we have in this product, there's some moderate cancer risks associated with the ingredients. There's a high amount of allergies and immunotoxicity risks. So these are things that obviously give us allergies, but then also are toxic to our immune system. Nothing we want to have. There's a moderate amount of developmental and reproductive toxicity in the ingredients. And because of all this, there's some high use restrictions. So we can scroll down a bit, and it now breaks down every single ingredient within this particular Head & Shoulders shampoo. And it lists what type of risk is associated with that ingredient, and then also how much data has been used to generate this risk assessment. So we can first see the first ingredient here. There's a fair amount of data on this one. It's scored a level 6, pretty high. And we can click on it to give us a bit more information. There's moderate developmental and reproductive toxicity. We've got some other organ system toxicity. There's some persistence and bioaccumulation issues where it just sort of hangs out in your body, some of these forever chemicals. So you can kind of really delve into quite a bit of information for each individual product. And again, we're looking for ones that are 1 and 2. So that's if you're searching for a specific product. If you are looking just to see what are some good healthy products, the best place to go is, let me just go back to the home. Up here we have EWG verified. So these are products that the Environmental Working Group has already vetted. So they need to be free of all ingredients that have any kind of scores over 2 that are showing any concerns. The company needs to be fully transparent in all of the ingredients that it's putting in. So there can't be any trade secrets or hidden ingredients within these products. And there needs to be a fair amount of science or scientific studies backing up the risk assessment claims. So we can then search for products that have already gone through this process, and we can search for them based on product type. So up here we see personal care products, so we can check out baby products, skincare products, hair care. So if I click on hair care, for example, it's going to bring up a whole bunch of different products that are going to be safe to use. And they've even included a nice where to find them. So it's going to be different. Some are just going to be a Google search, but some are going to give you an Amazon link, some link to the specific company where you can buy it from. So they've made it pretty user-friendly here. Now, if you're out of the store and you want to check to see if a product is healthy or not, they've got a really helpful app called the Healthy Living app, which you can use when you're out and about. And if you want to get a little more low tech, you don't want to use your phone, they've got some little foldouts that you can print out and carry with you to the grocery store. They're going to show you some things to avoid. And another great tool is the Think Dirty app. So it's also great to use if you're out shopping. You can simply scan the product's barcode and the app will give you a safety rating, from 0 being the cleanest to 10 being the most hazardous. Now on this app, we recommend only choosing products with a score of 0. And finally, you could use the Chemical Maze app, which again works in a similar way, but it's more focused on food additives and personal care ingredients. So if you've searched for one of your products on these databases and it doesn't show up, the next step is you're going to have to check the ingredient list yourself. And the first thing you want to do is check for some warning signs. So words like danger, corrosive, flammable, or combustible. We want to stay away from any warnings about eye, skin, or respiratory irritation. And we want to stay away from any directions that require eye protection, gloves, masks, or ventilation during use, or any special disposal instructions like bringing it to a hazardous waste facility. Anything like that, we want to stay away from it. Missing ingredient lists or vague words like scent or fragrance, these terms can be really misleading, as companies aren't required to disclose the specific chemicals that you use when they say something like fragrance. So a single fragrance can actually be a concoction of hundreds of different chemicals that they don't have to say what they are. So they could be any type of chemical that they're putting in, and we don't know if they're safe or not, and we have no ability to actually check up on the safety of that. So if any of these red flags are present, it's best to avoid that product altogether. However, if you don't see any obvious warning signs, the next step is you're going to look at the individual ingredients. So if you can't find a product, for example, that's already been assessed, then you can start looking at the individual ingredients within that product. Now, there's usually a lot of them, so to be a little bit more efficient, we suggest starting with the last ingredient, which is often a preservative. So let's look how to do that. I'm going to click on the Skin Deep database, and from there, I'm going to search for one of the most common preservatives that is put in personal care products, and those are parabens. So I'm going to search for paraben. I'm going to type in paraben. I haven't hit enter yet, and it's just giving me a whole bunch of different options. So let's check out the first type of paraben, methylparaben. I'm going to click on that, and let's see what sort of concerns that particular ingredient comes up with. So in this case, it's level 3 to 4. We want to stay away from this. It's in the orange range. Anything above 1 and 2, again, is not anything we're looking to have in our products. So we can kind of follow the same assessment as we look at in a product. We are looking at, again, what the level is and how much data they've used to generate that risk score. In this case, there's a fair amount of data, and there's a 3 to 4 level of risk assessment. So again, nothing we want to have. There's some cancer concerns, some allergies and immunotoxicity concerns. And you can see here developmental and reproductivity concerns and some low use restrictions. However, again, we really want to stay away from anything above a level 2, because there's a whole bunch of products for anything that you want to use that you can find that are going to be in that green 1 to 2 range. So try and stick to those lower numbers where possible. Now, if the last ingredient had received a 1 or 2 rating, you would just proceed to the next ingredient on the list, and so on, until you've confirmed that all the components within that product have a low hazard rating. And I completely understand that checking ingredients can take some time initially, but you only have to do it once per product. And to make it easier, just go room by room or step by step instead of trying to do it all at once. A little effort now can make such a big difference for all these choices that we're making and these products that we're using day after day on our bodies. In the next lesson, we're going to go over how to store your products safely.